YouTube.
Everything clicking, everything.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that record yet. So I got the Tony Siragusa. I got Deshaun Watson real quick. Chris Sims top 40. I like this one. This one could last a little bit. I got a feeling.
Yeah, that's why I gave you the list, because I figure we're going to.
You might not agree with me on some of these, but. And then there's others. There's more. Like I kind of put 3 and 3, but then there's others. There's not just the 3. Like there's definitely some that to me are out of place. And no, I don't touch Zach Wilson. So just
definitely no. I definitely. There's some that are like mind-boggling to me, and some that I give him credit for. Like
yeah, absolutely.
All
no,
right.
you know me. Like well, we'll talk about it. And then we got NBA Finals. God, I feel like I'm loud as fuck. At least in my ears. Maybe it's just my headset is too loud. Okay, test.
Yeah, you're a little loud. I'm
gonna turn it down just a pinch. Hello, check.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. All right, good.
There seems to be no echo on that one. There was an echo on the last
one. Okay, good. NBA Finals, and you got a KD thing that you want to bring up?
I do.
I wanted to just point out the Stanley Cup Finals, and yes, I actually have been watching. Just to point out how it's been fun. U.S. Open golf, we'll have to rehash that from last week. And we got your top 5 college stadiums that you want to attend. And then that's it, right?
And I got 3 70s, and that's it for me.
Okay. And I have a Today in Sports History that we're going to do. I wasn't thrilled with the funny news stories that were available, so I went with Today in Sports History.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Press record. The magic of podcasting. Or not press and record.
You sounded like like an info commercial.
Yeah, here we go. I'm Casey Kasem. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined as always by my good friend Scott Bracey. What's going on, dude?
Good afternoon, Peter.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Did you enjoy your week off? We didn't do the podcast last week.
Yeah,
you're a very busy man. Very busy man.
My nephew, proud to announce he graduated Pascack Hills High School.
Incredible, dude. I still remember you what feels like not very long ago, you sending me or posting pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I swear he was like 9.
Yeah.
Like he's a little boy, and now it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy from my angle too, man. I'm very proud of him. Going to the University of Hartford in Connecticut.
Ooh, very nice.
So we had a nice couple of days celebrating him. So
very cool. Very cool.
Thank you.
I posted some pictures of my kids poolside on Facebook, and I had a couple of people comment like, "Oh, not babies anymore, huh?"
It's like,
I
thought the same, actually.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, so it is funny, man. They grow up so goddamn fast that it's a hell of a thing to see. So I'm feeling good here today. I have my dad's executive desk here in my place, and I've been waiting. I've been waiting like 4.5 months to be in this spot in the apartment. So I'm excited. I feel good. I got a little extra juice today.
Good.
Because I feel like I'm in my proper location finally. So be ready. There might be some, fireballs being thrown at you. And I don't mean shots. Although that would be fun. We should do that. We should do we should do an episode where if I call you out or you call me out on saying something stupid, we have to do a shot. Although we might not make it to the end of the episode. So.
We might get banned, too, from podcasting at that point. One quick question before we start. How was your Father's Day?
It was good. I don't usually enjoy Father's Day because to me, it's just I remember my dad, and he's not here. So it's very difficult for me. I just would rather it not be Father's Day. But I am a dad also, so I try to maybe think about that in the morning and think about that at night, but the rest of the day be with my kids. Good. And I had a great day with my kids. We got to be by the pool and we got to hang out. We had some great food and all that kind of stuff. So
good. That's what matters.
And we had, as usual on Father's Day, we had the U.S. Open, which to me was not the most terribly exciting Open ever, but certainly the last, we'll say 2 hours or so changed that a lot. So we'll get to that a little later. But we'll start off with the bad news. We always try to get the bad news out of the way. There has been a rash of what I'll call deaths of the too young lately. Two of them specifically, way too young, couple players in their 20s. And then Tony Siragusa, who, while not in his 20s, 55, is just way too young for him to have passed Super Bowl champion, sideline reporter for, what was it, CBS maybe?
Fox.
For Fox, got you. Pretty crazy to think that young. I'm going to be 49 in just a matter of days at this point, and to think that someone 55, we don't know cause of death yet, but kind of put you on alert, you know what I'm saying? And you know, who were the other two dudes? One of them was a Baltimore Raven and one of them was an NBA player.
I don't know his first name, but his last name was Ferguson. He was 26 years old. I'm not sure if he was still on the Ravens or not. And then the other one was Purdue star center Caleb Swanigan, who, not again, like we were talking about before, not too long ago, it feels like he was beating up the Big Ten.
I feel
sad.
like in the report that I saw, like it said like natural causes. I'm like, that's not natural. I don't care what it's not natural for a 25-year-old to pass, man. Come on.
No.
Oh, it's like heartbreaking. And these are like you kind of look at them and you say, these are the best of the best, the fittest of the fit, the healthiest people that we have to offer. And they're, I can't even imagine. Like I always say, like, don't feel bad for them. They're gone. They're not feeling anything. Feel bad for their parents, their families. Like they're dealing with that kind of thing. It's just, I can't even imagine what a parent would feel like. Your son makes it to the professional level, makes it to an elite level, and then they pass so quick. I can't even imagine. It's never easy, but I'm just thinking like you get the highest of the high and then right after the lowest of the low. It's just hard to fathom at such a young age. Siragusa is an interesting case. He had a restaurant over there in the Parsippany area. I can't remember the name. Yes, Tiffany's. Yeah, and I've been there a few times. Very good food. If I'm not,
I might have as well.
Yeah, nice bar area as well. Just saying. Fun dude. Everybody loved him on the sideline, especially. This is a guy that does not hold back. He lets it rip, and that's kind of what made him so fun. And I think also because he's so goddamn big, he wasn't afraid to say anything because he didn't give a shit what anybody said back to him because he didn't feel threatened by anybody. So it's just something else. So, you know, we say our best wishes for their families and hope they're able to find some peace in such a horrible time for them.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened to Dan Patrick yesterday or not, but
I didn't get a chance to.
He was comparing, you know, what does Gronk do in retirement for as long as he stays retired until Tom calls him. But
yeah,
can he do like a Tony Siragusa, back of the end zone, a little goofy reporting kind of thing?
Oh, it makes sense actually.
I'm driving home from work yesterday. Rothenberger calls me and goes, "Dude, did you hear what happened to Siragusa?" And I'm like, "No." Because he died.
Oh, he mentioned that before the news
yesterday morning.
Oh, that's just crazy.
So then Dan said today, he goes, I was getting all kind of calls and texts around 4:30 yesterday about Siragusa, and Dan's going, "Oh, what did you hear the show about? What does he have an opinion about Gronk?" He goes, "No, he died."
God.
And they have a relationship because they work together. Siragusa built his own man cave, so he was like, so he was a little emotional this morning, as you can imagine. But it was
certainly,
it was eerie.
Bananas. So, again, we hope peace for their families and just pretty crazy. Some other news before we get to the fun stuff. I don't know if this is good or bad. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? And so Deshaun Watson has settled out of court, at least in the civil case, with 20 of the 24 women that have accused him of what would we call sexual harassment. Is that what the charges basically were?
I think we could probably keep it there.
Whatever.
Yeah, illegal touching.
All that kind of stuff. So what does that mean? It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Some people will take that and say, well, it's an admission of guilt. You can't do that. And other people will say, oh, the women were just in it for the money. Well, you know, if somebody offered you, I don't know what the number is. We don't know yet. And I don't know if we ever will know. But if somebody offered you $250,000, that's money you wouldn't have had just a week ago. That dick was wagged in your face regardless. And I'm just saying, like, that's life-changing money. It's easy to say you would turn it down because it's the right thing to do. Okay. Like, maybe if you're making $250,000 a year, then you're saying, like, I'm not doing that. But if you're a masseuse making $85,000 a year and you got a kid or whatever, you got a mortgage or what, I don't know, $250,000. It's not so easy. It's easy to say, but it's not so easy to do that. Oh, I wouldn't take it. That makes a lot of problems go away, dude. So, you know, and with that said, there's still four cases that are still open. And as we've talked about in the past, there were 60 women that at least gave him massages. So there might be some others out there, because we know in the last month or two, there have been two new ones that came forward. So there still could be more that come forward. And how many do you need? As far as his reputation, as far as what happens if it goes to court and what women say. What I heard, and it might have been Florio, and I can't even stand agreeing with him at all. But the idea might be, how many do you need? Now, you know what? I can't give Florio credit. It was like the Keyshawn, I think it was Keyshawn and Jay Will were saying, and Max wasn't agreeing with him because Max is an idiot, but they were saying if one woman comes forward and takes this all the way to court, she speaks for 24, for 25. Yeah. Because we're grouping it all together because the charges are all similar. They're all the same. Yeah. He did the same to all of them. So if one speaks, she's speaking for 24.
And I know right now one of them is refusing to budge. We'll see if the number goes up, and we'll see what happens. But
I mean, for the sake of news, for the sake of justice, I would hope at least one of them will take this all the way through, so we can see. Because if one of them takes it all the way through, we'll get information. We'll find out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then others can be called as witnesses. They're not part of the case, but they're witnesses. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. This is obviously him at least saying this. At the very least, this is him saying this could go on for a really long time, and the league is pretty much telling him, if this is still continuing, you can't play. That's got to be what happened, right? Like, if you have 24 civil cases against you, you cannot play football in this league. Had to be the case, wouldn't you think?
Well, I think there was a report that when Miami was looking to trade for him, that he had to settle before anything got moved.
Yeah, so, and he didn't want to settle at that point. He was pretty steadfast saying he wouldn't do it.
Now, do you think maybe there's something, did he get word from the league? If you settle or something, or if the cases go down, you get less suspension?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be – well, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm sure at the very least his lawyers and agent were in communication with the league. And while it may not have been that direct of, hey, if you get this over with, it'll be less.
Right.
I'm sure the conversation went something more like, listen, this doesn't look good. I can't see, or we can't see allowing him on the field in front of our male and female fans who look at this as offensive, and he's playing while these civil suits are, you know what I mean? Like they'll massage the English language a little bit.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Pun intended. We'll hand job the English language. To get the picture clear, like, dude, because it's impossible. You can't be in court Monday and Tuesday and playing football on Sunday for a league that has had issues with
suspensions for less
physical assaults and
for
stuff.
A lot less.
Yes, this is the problem. This is what I wanted to ask you. You think of some of the suspensions that have come down in this league on players for conduct. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think is like? Because I'm thinking like I think you mentioned once before Calvin Ridley.
Yeah,
I mean, he's getting a full fucking year, dude. He can't play an entire season because he bet $1,500 on a football game that he wasn't even
correct.
That he wasn't even involved in.
Correct.
Right? He's losing a whole season. And Deshaun Watson,
and not to mention, and just
someone in the face with his dick, and he's only going to get 8 games.
Just to compound off that too, all these guys play fantasy football too.
Of course, which is a money league.
So, Greg Hardy. What did Greg Hardy have? Guns under his bed? He lit one off. Like what did he get? 4 games?
Yeah. Yeah, they gotta square that, dude.
He got a quarter.
Yeah. It's that's the thing, right? And here's the thing too. If it was 1 or 2 and they settled out of court, you can kind of say, well, it could have just been a money grab. And I totally understand, because I get it with rich people, with millionaires and billionaires. It's easier to give away $100,000 than it is to fight. You want these situations to go away. You know what I mean? I get that. I'm not condemning them for the payments. But this is not 1 or 2. This is like, you're in the 20s now. Like, this is a significant number. It's ugly. It's ugly. we've talked about how Cleveland, to me, I think we both agree on this, Cleveland screwed up.
Yeah.
Like, you made that move way too quick, and you gave him way too much to make him the richest player in the fucking league in guaranteed money. Like, it's just bananas.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure they made it somewhat clear, and they put some kind of message like, dude, if you want to play anytime soon, you're gonna have to get this over and done with, and then start some kind of like marketing campaign to, rehabilitate your fucking name, because his name is shit right now. It's shit. I swear to God, you know when that season starts, it'll be the first goddamn preseason game or whenever is the first one he's allowed to step on.
I know where you're going with it.
There'll be women, 100 women outside the stadium picketing with signs and making a scene. Then the news is going to eat that shit up, dude. They're going to have cameras all over that. And it won't end. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. You came up with this great idea this week. Before we get to it, we're going to talk a little bit about Chris Sims' top 40 quarterbacks. Just a little reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, we have the podcast. You can listen on Spotify, on Anchor, on Google Podcasts, anywhere you find podcasts. We're available on. Oh, I almost forgot. We're available on iPhone, Apple Podcasts as well, which is super convenient for all you iPhone listeners. And on the other side, if you only tend to listen on the podcast, don't forget, if you're interested, you can watch us on YouTube. Go to B&R Clips, and you can see our lovely faces. Scotty here, single man, always available if you have a younger sister or an older mom or something. Like, he's not prejudiced. He's available and likes to have a good time. So you might want to forward that to somebody. You never know. You never know who'd be interested. So Chris Sims has his top 40 quarterbacks. It's an interesting list, and I give Chris Sims, before we even get into the list per se, I give Sims a lot of credit because when it comes to these kind of things, we've talked about his, usual like his pre-draft quarterback rankings, and for a few years in a row now, he's gotten some shit. And if you look back over the last 4 or 5 years, he's more often right than he is wrong. So when he puts out lists like this, while I won't always agree with him, I give him a lot of credit because he doesn't just go with the flow. He doesn't just go with what everyone else is saying to do. So you had this cool idea of looking at the list and saying, let's talk about some on the list that might be too high and then others that might be too low. So you want to throw a name out or two that are on the too high side right now?
Too high for me right away is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I got him on my list for sure.
I mean, how can you put him 13 where you don't know what's going on? Never mind, it's a new team with a lot of question marks at wide receiver. Tough division. So that for me stood out right away.
And me on that list, right behind him is Matt Ryan, who's been to a Super Bowl, has put up monster numbers and done it for a long period of time. And now he's on the Colts. Right off the bat, just those two, at the very least, I would switch those two right then and there. I would have Matt Ryan probably a little higher than that.
I think I'd have Tannehill ahead of Watson right now as well, to be honest with you. Although they have some question marks at wide receiver.
Yeah,
too.
Not for anything. You can't even say like Deshaun Watson's playoff performances haven't been any better than Tannehill's playoff performances. So and Tannehill's gotten his team to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. So you make a great point there too.
Go ahead. Why don't you give me one that you think's too?
Well, my first one that I had on the list, I'm not a fan, is Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
I just think he's super overrated. I think listen. Dak Prescott is a great guy. I think he's a superb leader. I think he's a top half of the league quarterback. I just don't think he's a great quarterback. And to have him, where the hell did I got him at 9? I'm not there, dude. And when I look at some of the guys that are behind him, I'm sorry. And I think we're gonna find out this year and in the subsequent years just how good Dak Prescott is, because he's lost a couple of his best receivers. The line isn't the same.
Zeke's not the same.
I think people, because of those things I mentioned, I think people want him to be good. I think people want him to succeed, and I get that because he's a likable dude.
Yeah.
He's a hard guy not to like.
After the broken leg too, coming back.
All of it. Just he always says the right thing. He takes responsibility, and that's why I want to be clear. Like I would take Dak Prescott as my quarterback. I just don't think he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. I'm not saying he's in the 20s or something like that, but I can name a few guys. Like I said, I mean, I would probably switch him with Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, again, Matt Ryan. I would probably switch him with Kirk Cousins. I'm just being honest there. And frankly, Jimmy Garoppolo has an argument to be over Dak Prescott. Jimmy Garoppolo's been to multiple NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott hasn't even come close to that. So as far as winning goes, it's between those two, it's actually not even close. So
yeah, and I know. Last week or the week before, we touched on Kirk. You know, last year he played phenomenal. It wasn't his fault at all why they were not a playoff team.
Statistically, he was huge. Kirk Cousins' problem is he doesn't show up really big in the big games or the prime time games, Monday night games, Sunday night games. He doesn't do particularly well, and that's not a good look because it looks like you're choking under the bright lights. So that's not great. And then the other side of it is maybe he just doesn't play well under the lights. Maybe he doesn't play well at night. But yeah, Prescott to me, I could take him or leave him. There's a lot of guys in this league that I would take before him. There's a lot of guys that I know that are already better than him. And then there are some rookies or younger quarterbacks that they're not better than him yet, but I would take them.
With the ceiling.
I would take him because of the potential. Absolutely.
I got two guys that are too low for me here.
I got one more too high.
Oh, go ahead, please, sir.
I got one more too high. And I love him, so this is not a knock in any way, shape, or form. I just think if we're being honest, this is a bit much. Joe Burrow should not be number 4 ahead of Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady. Come the fuck on, dude.
Yeah.
And what universe are you talking? Are we talking about, like, would you take him over these guys now? Because Aaron Rodgers is 38 and Tom Brady's 45. That's not what this list is supposed to be. At least that's not what I thought. This was ranking the best, ranking them in order. And if you think anybody on the if you think Tom Brady is not as good right now as Joe Burrow, you're smoking too much weed, dude. You're on crystal meth. I mean, or Aaron Rodgers. Are you fucking bananas?
So that's what I was going to start off with. Too low for me is Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Number 8?
He's got a hard on for Brady for whatever reason. You know, he's always on.
Does
DP,
he really?
And DP's always like, Chris, this is like the 4th year in a row. You wait. Listen, Tom's a friend. I was a teammate with him in New England. I like him. But listen, and he keeps mentioning the age. Like you just said, this isn't what the list. You can't have him fall off a cliff until he falls off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If he keeps proving it to you, when he leads the league in touchdown passes and yards, you can't have many.
Like, what are we talking? Joe Burrow's better than if you just left the name blank and you just had the guy who led the league in touchdowns. He led the league in touchdowns, led the league in passing yards, and won his division.
Yeah,
you don't put anybody ahead of that guy,
dude. And
for the most part,
no one's rooting for Russell Wilson more than me.
Right?
He's not ahead of Tom Brady, Coach.
It's crazy. It's just crazy, you know. So that's a good one on your part.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, okay. If you got another one, go ahead.
Yeah, I got Jalen Hurts here.
I put that one too.
I think
so. Just for the record, just because for those who are just listening, Chris Sims has him rated at number 25 out of 40. And do you have the list in front of you?
I do, yes, sir.
Do you want to say some of the names that are ahead of him that I think we both agree are bullshit that it's ahead of him?
I was just about to, and I was going to start.
And let me preface it with this. You and I both have some questions about Jalen Hurts. I don't think either one of us think he's a top 10 or 15 quarterback. But this is come on, 20. There's only 32 starters in the league. 25th? And some of the guys that are ahead of him, I really like. And I couldn't do that to this kid. So it's crazy.
So there's a bunch here, bud. I feel like we're going to talk about this for a minute.
Yeah, feel free.
17 Baker Mayfield. The guy doesn't even know what team he's going to be on in the fucking fall. He's got him ahead of Jalen Hurts. 18 Mac Jones. Listen, nice player. I like him coming out of school.
Hey, come on.
He's got 18 touchdown passes last year. Give me a break.
It's absurd.
19. This one chaps my ass. I know it does. Carson Wentz. The guy single-handedly blew the fucking Colts playoff chances last year.
Yeah. I think he's better than Jalen Hurts, but I think you're playing with fire by
But you're also but now there's also still 6 names in between the two.
Yeah. Well, this, you know what? That comparison will certainly be put to the test this year, and that'll be fun. So we'll see.
20 Jimmy G. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
21 Daniel Jones, the guy's
get funky.
21 Daniel Jones, the guy's played what, 9 games in
stinks.
Come on,
they're
dude.
talking about cutting him. They wouldn't even give him a 5th-year option.
Jalen Hurts led his team to the playoffs last year, and you got Daniel Jones ahead of him.
It's crazy. That's bananas.
And I'm sorry to all my Giant friends, but I feel like a lot of them will agree with me here on this one.
I agree totally. And I agree with the next one you're going to say.
Your boy, Zach Wilson, ahead of him.
Dude, it's crazy. And I like Zach Wilson, and this is one of those where I say I would take Zach Wilson over Jalen Hurts because of what's potential moving forward. But if you're just going to talk about where they are right now, are you kidding me? It's not even close. It's not even close. Jalen Hurts is way ahead.
The next one to me makes us both sick. Justin Fields.
Well, what's even worse is that Justin Fields in this list, in this totally retarded part, is ahead of Trevor Lawrence. Did you think before you wrote that, Chris? How, on what planet is Justin Fields? Has he shown even a glimpse of being better than Trevor Lawrence? That's crazy to me too. But yes, Jalen Hurts, stupid. No way.
And then we have Jalen Hurts at 25, Lawrence 25. So another one for me too.
And let me just add this.
Go ahead.
You got Jameis Winston at 26, just like inches. So Jalen Hurts is just an inch above Jameis Winston, who was off to a phenomenal start last year before he blew out his knee. So it's like, come on, dude.
Jared Goff at 30. The guy's.
Dude, that's another one that I got.
The guy's been to a Super Bowl. He had a great last half of the year last year, and if their defense they didn't blow, they would have won 4 more games. Dude, this is where Chris Sims pisses me off. Now you got my blood pumping here.
Dude, you just nailed 2 of mine. I said the same thing with Jared Goff. I'm like, this is a fucking Super Bowl quarterback, dude. And we both talked about how what was it, 2 years ago, before the trade, he takes him to, was it the NFC Championship game or the the divisional championship game? With a busted thumb, they beat Seattle, and then they're right in the game, and he actually had a pretty goddamn good game against Green Bay.
Absolutely.
So it's not like he choked in that position with a busted up thumb after he was benched for some fucking nutty guy in the first playoff game. Dude, I think that's absurd. This is one of those where I say it's kind of similar to Jalen Hurts, where I say it's not like I think Jared Goff is a top 10 guy, but he's better than these guys. Everybody you mentioned, other than maybe like Baker Mayfield. Well, no, I don't know. Yeah, like everybody you mentioned that shouldn't have been ahead of Jalen Hurts really shouldn't be ahead of Jared Goff either. And I'm looking at this thing. You got Tua Tagovailoa ahead of Jared Goff.
Marcus Mariota.
Fucking Super. Marcus Mariota hasn't played a down in 3 years, and you got him ahead of a guy who's, I mean, come on.
Listen, I think we're all kind of rooting for Mitch Trubisky, but we don't know a thing about him either.
I'm like, Mitch Trubisky ahead of Jared Goff? You're telling me if you had a draft right now and the last 2 guys that you could pick from were Mitch Trubisky and Jared Goff, you take Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah, right.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. Not on any planet, any day of the week, any holiday.
And
Not
I think a lot of Steelers fans would go, give me Jared Goff right now.
Yeah, I'll take Jared Goff right now. Can we make that trade?
No doubt.
Jesus Christ. That one, yeah. Those are the two big ones to me.
And I know me and you are kind of on an island here, and I hope he proves us right with Davis Mills.
Oh, my God. You got my other one.
But he's got like 3 backups ahead of this guy.
Bro. I said, dude, you just totally stole my list.
Sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fantastic. I totally agree. Here's a guy who I should have looked it up. I ran out of fucking time. I think he had 4 or 5 300-yard passing games.
Definitely.
He didn't even start all 17 games. And he had, I think, 4, 5, 6 300-yard passing games with no team.
He beat the Titans.
Yes.
Number 1 seed. He took the Colts to the end of the game, and he took the Patriots to the end of the game. With no team and no lame duck coach.
Dude.
Come on, man.
I'm telling you. You know, in the end, we'll be proven right. And it'll be, I don't know, like mid-November. And you and I will be doing one of those episodes where we're like patting ourselves on the back and saying, told you so. Yeah.
Kenny Pickett starting for the Steelers. Trubisky's on the bench. Mariota's out for the year. Baker Mayfield's fucking shoveling my driveway.
Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, like I looked at that Davis Mills and I'm like, you got Tyler Huntley ahead of Davis Mills. Dude, the guy threw 300-yard passing games last year. Tyler Huntley barely was able to survive.
Geno Smith, who doesn't even know if he's going to play or be on the roster.
Come
Trey
on.
Lance, for Christ's sake, Chris.
Well, that was another one. If you really want to say who's too high, Trey Lance is too high. Dude, he had like 15 total plays last year. What are you basing that ranking on?
15
Like, I don't even know how you have
in
Trey Lance
3
ahead of
years.
Drew Lock right now. Like, that seems unfair that Drew Lock is 40. Like, come on, seriously.
I would have gave him more credit if he put like Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew 4 spots away from each other than the list he's got going on.
Dude, you can make an argument that Gardner Minshew's too low also at 37. Yeah. He's not better than Tyrod Taylor. He's not better than Geno Smith or Sam Darnold.
Or Tyler Huntley.
If you put Gardner Minshew, well, he might be on that team. Is he on Carolina? No,
he's on
the Eagles.
Yeah.
If you put Gardner Minshew on Carolina, dude, that's a very interesting team. He's not better than Tua. He's not better than Marcus Mariota. You're fucking crazy, dude. And he was putting up those numbers on Jacksonville, who stinks. Yeah, he might be underrated too. Daniel Jones is way too high.
Oh my God,
that's absurd. Dude.
I don't know if I'm more mad at the Fields one.
That is just pure bias. You're not thinking clearly. You saw nothing. I'm sorry, you saw nothing last year that inspires any kind of hope. Nothing.
No, you can't even talk it into us what you saw. Like, there's not one guy out there that could tell us.
I mean,
what he averaged about him.
He averaged like 140 yards passing a game. And then what are you going to give me? He doesn't have the talent around him. Neither did Davis Mills.
Right.
And he averaged like 260 yards a game.
Dude, the Lions were a laughing stock. They played every goddamn game hard to the whistle to the end of the game.
They had the Rams beat.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, they had the Rams beat in that game. The Super Bowl champion Rams. Dude. Yeah, it's fun though.
I knew we were going to get pumping.
Carson Wentz is why can't I let this fucking go? I just the physical talent is there. That's why I don't want to let that one go. I don't want to take.
But dude,
he's got to prove it. Obviously, he's got to prove it, and he did at times last year. He looked great at times last year, and then he looked like a high school quarterback at times. Worse. I don't remember any of my guys ever playing like that, making throws like that. God, I remember Mikey Noviola throwing it right to the defensive tackle for an interception return for a 2-yard touchdown.
I was watching, they had the midseason Hard Knocks last year.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with the Colts.
Yeah.
He did not come off as very likable. You surround the quarterback. He's a rah-rah guy. You want to go out, like beers, dinner, whatever. No one seemed like really. And then he got COVID, and I think that really knocked him on his ass because he did not look the same after that. But, man.
That seems to be the knock on him, is that he's not particularly likable. He doesn't really have a great rapport.
A leader of men type of thing.
In the locker room. Yeah. What do you think about the top of the list?
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Let me give you like the top 8. I'll give you top 8 here. Josh Allen.
Give me the top 10. Give me the top 10.
All right. Give me the top 10 here. Josh Allen at 1. Patrick Mahomes at 2. Justin Herbert at 3. 4 is Joe Burrow. 5, Aaron Rodgers. 6, Matthew Stafford. 7, Russell Wilson. 8, Tom Brady. 9, Dak Prescott. 10, Lamar Jackson.
So
just on the outside of that is Derek Carr.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I'll speak for you here because I know I can just on this topic alone. You would probably put Carr 9 and probably Dak 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Right? Would that be fair?
Yeah.
All right. I probably would have Lamar 8, Lamar 9, probably Dak or Carr 10, 9 or 10 or 11, something like that. I have no problem with Josh Allen at 1, but I think until Mahomes gets proven he can't do it, I think Pat's number 1 for me.
I kind of agree with that one.
Yeah, Allen, Herbert are interchangeable at 2 and 3. I personally would have Brady at 4 right now. He's coming off a monster year.
I have to have Brady against ahead of Herbert and Burrow and Rodgers and Stafford. Like, I probably put Tom Brady at 3.
Okay.
Like, I love Justin Herbert. You know that. But let's just keep it real, dude.
That's fair.
He missed the playoffs again with great receivers, and
I would drop Rodgers down to probably.
You would drop him.
I would probably have him at 6.
See, I put him at 4. I put Tom Brady at 3, I mean, that's the list. When we did our quarterbacks that are
Yeah.
not named, those were our top 4, and there's a reason. Well, certainly a
No, I
reason
know
that
that.
I did that.
I know that.
I can't. I'm not ready to say Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers.
I know. When you put it that way, you're right. However, I just like his weapons better than I like Rodgers right now.
Oh, I agree with that totally.
Stafford, I think Stafford's probably 7. Wilson's probably 8.
Maybe Wilson is the only one that's like kind of where he belongs.
Yeah, he's probably right around that spot. But yeah,
which is funny because I think 4 years ago or so, people would have had him top 3, top 5. Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And now he's a little removed.
This is a big year for Kyler too, bro. Because now you're getting the money situation. He was acting like a baby, and now Hopkins is out the first 6. I know they traded for Hollywood, but he's not the same guy as Hopkins.
I'm glad you brought him up because there's a real argument to be made that he's way too high.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no playoff success. Every year he melts down the last 4 or 5 games of the season. There's an argument to be made that he should be behind Matt Ryan. He should be behind Ryan Tannehill. Baker Mayfield has had more success in this league. Baker Mayfield has a playoff win.
Yeah.
Like Baker Mayfield.
Tannehill has a couple playoff wins.
Tannehill has a few, but yeah, like Mac Jones at 18. That's fucking absurd.
You could argue Mac Jones could be 28. I don't know what the Patriots win-loss thing is, but I'm taking the under next year. I just talked myself into it. And I like him. I like him
too, and I thought he did a good job as a rookie. I just don't know how much more he's capable of. Like, you got to be really careful with these guys who come out of college that are quote-unquote finished products.
I got to tell you.
Because it's like, finished? I don't want to know that my guy's finished. Like, this is it. And he just, like, you watch Zach Wilson, and you're like, ooh, look at that. And then you fizzle. And you're like, God, there's just a lot more there. You watch Trevor Lawrence and you're like, whoa. And then like a bunch of fucking mistakes and like craziness and retarded stuff. You watch Mac Jones and you look and you're like, or even like a Justin Fields, you're like, God, there's got to be more there than that, right?
Yeah.
You look at Mac Jones and you're kind of like, that kind of looks like who he is. Like, I don't know how much better. Like, he's a really good decision maker. Not particularly athletic, not a particularly strong arm. Like, that kind of looks like who he is. Like, I don't know how much better you're going to get out of him.
Right now, you take Goff or Jones?
Or Jared Goff, no doubt.
Exactly. 12 spots away from each other on Chris Sims.
It's absurd. It's so stupid. Yeah, I mean, you can go down the list. You could start going like Mac Jones.
Winston. Mac Jones or Winston?
That's a tougher one. That's a tougher one only because of Jameis Winston's history. When he was with Tampa, he was just
and now no Sean Payton either.
Right. That's a good question. I think Belichick would take Mac Jones because he doesn't like all the fucking mistakes. But I think there are I think there are a lot of coaches in this league that would
fly the seat of your pants.
I think there are a lot of coaches in this league that would take Jameis Winston, a healthy Jameis Winston, over Mac Jones. I think Mike Tomlin would.
Andy Reid probably would. No, maybe not, because he did win with Alex Smith.
I think he would take Jameis Winston because I think he could do some damage with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is a tremendous passer of the football.
Yeah, he is.
Tremendous. Let's not forget he won a national championship at Florida State as a fucking freshman. Like he threw his way to that championship. So
and that was mid crab leg eating too.
Yes.
He put his bib on and went to work, my friend.
Oh my God, what a terrible look, that fucking idiot. Yeah, we could really pick this.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
like 2 at 29. Like, come on. And then I've defended him, so I'm being a little hypocritical because he did go on a 7-game winning streak. But it was preceded by a 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, and you know what though, too, dude? Like if he put Tua at 21 where Daniel Jones is, and he told me, listen, he trusts that Waddle, Hill, Gesicki, and the running game, and the new coach is gonna. Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll give you that.
But the Daniel Jones there.
No.
On what grounds?
What grounds?
Yeah, what's your argument? What's your basis for
Even
that?
at 23, what's Fields' argument? You have no argument
Dude,
for Fields. None.
You get none of that from me. To me, he would be 40. You know me.
You know what?
I've been saying this since before the fucking draft. Before he got drafted, I said, you're making a mistake. I'm sorry. I'd have him at 40. I can't think of a single guy on this list that I would have him ahead of. That I would have.
Well, I'm a little salty with Teddy Bridgewater right now, so I can't defend Teddy. But
Geno Smith seems a little high. 33.
a little high.
Should he even be on the list?
Christ.
Oh my God.
I'd rather Geno Atkins at 33 than Geno.
Oh my God. All right, we'll wrap that one up. I could really.
Yeah, we could do surgery on that all day.
Oh, for sure, man. Jimmy Garoppolo gets no fucking respect.
I get
it with the injuries.
I told
man.
you, bro. The longer this goes, the more I like him.
Right? It's funny. It's funny. Because, like, there's no reason. You can't even use the injury thing that he's behind Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz gets hurt all the time, too. This is a guy that went to the Super Bowl in the NFC Championship game, and he had that goddamn game wrapped up in the NFC Championship game. He did throw an interception that cost the game, but that's besides the point.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good argument.
Yeah, I should have just kept that to myself. Hey, don't forget our T-shirt giveaway. If you this is a great opportunity too. I got here on the YouTube channel. I got here. How many games should Deshaun Watson be suspended? What a great chance for you to comment. You can leave a comment here with us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. On where else can you leave a comment? Do you know?
Anchor app with the voicemail on the Anchor app.
That's right. Yeah, we'll get that. So if you leave a text comment, you get an entry into our T-shirt giveaway, which is a T-shirt of your favorite team, your favorite NFL team with the BNR logo on it. And if you, like Scotty says, if you were to leave us a voicemail, which you can only do through the Anchor app, which is so friggin' cool, not only will you get 5 entries into the giveaway, you will also get a chance to hear yourself on the podcast, which is also a lot of fun. So don't forget that. NBA Finals happened. The last time we talked about this, you and I were talking about how Boston was up 2-1, and we had a really hard time figuring out how Golden State was going to win this series. And Boston never won another game since.
They can thank us. You're welcome.
Yeah, well, you're welcome for the jinx. What do you think about what went down there?
Well, you said it best. Steph had to be at MVP level for them to win it, and he was. I think he had one bad game where he was 0 for 9 from 3. But I think he still had like 18, 19 points, something like that. He was going to the line, getting layups, and doing what he could do, audition it out. I think he had 13 assists or something like that. I think the big thing for me is I think they just ran out of gas with a combo of inexperience.
Correct. I couldn't have said it any better. Yeah. Oh my God, what the heck is his name? The shooting guard for Boston.
Jason Tatum?
Yeah, Jason Tatum just came up short. He looked a little overwhelmed, which is fascinating because he did not look overwhelmed in the entire Eastern Conference playoffs. Like, he was the man. He looked like the best player in the court for the entire Eastern Conference playoffs. And he just looked overwhelmed. I don't know if it was because he's looking across the court and you see Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who didn't necessarily play particularly well, Draymond Green. Like, you're seeing, I don't know, maybe guys that are, quasi heroes of yours, role models, guys that you want to be like, yada, yada, guys you watch on TV and now you're like trying to beat him. And that can be overwhelming. I totally get it. He still is only 24 years old. Let's keep that in mind. People forget he came into the league after his freshman year. So he's still a young dude.
It's funny too. Like, the Celtics were worried about what they were going to get out of Jaylen Brown. And if you told them they were going to get that out of Jaylen Brown, they thought they'd sweep the Warriors. They got with Tatum as hot as he was going in.
As much as Tatum kind of took a little bit of a hit to his reputation, that's how much Jaylen Brown's, to me, was elevated. Like, he very much came across as a killer. He came across very Kobe-like, very Jordan-like. I don't just mean in his play. I don't think he's Kobe or Jordan as a player. But his process, the way he went about the game, like, he just Tatum hits a shot and he just is like ho hum and goes to the other end of the court. Jaylen Brown hits a shot and he has just a look on his face like he just wants to fucking tear your throat out.
Yep.
And I just liked seeing that. I think that's a good look. And those are the guys, to me, those are the guys that you look next year. Keep an eye on Jaylen Brown next year because he now has a little taste, a little aftertaste that's left on his mouth. Like, number one, I don't want to lose like that again. Number two, I was that close. I want that shit. And I seriously would expect Jaylen Brown to take a big step up next year. He's already a really good player. I mean, he's already a really good player. But these are the types of like events in a player's career that either kind of gets them stuck or elevates them.
Mm-hmm.
And just by watching Jaylen Brown, I'm like, I think this is the kind of thing that's going to elevate him. And you're going to see, I don't even think the stats will be that much different. But when you get your points matters, how many game-winning shots do you have? How many lockdown? I think back to Jordan being like the best defensive player in the league. Also, he's a defensive first-team all-defensive player like 10 fucking years in a row or whatever the hell it was. There's an intensity level. It's not just the stats. It's the when you get your stats and what you do last 5 minutes of games. I would expect to see a little more out of Jaylen. I don't know what I'm going to get out of Jason Tatum. I genuinely don't. It's not going to be bad. I don't think it's going to get worse.
Right.
I'm just really genuinely not sure he's going to become a superstar. Jaylen Brown has a little something in him that makes me feel there could be more. There might be more to come, and it could be pretty impressive.
Another thing that was big for me in the series was when Draymond Green cut the bullshit out and decided to play basketball. It flipped the series.
Oh, imagine that. You're not so
right?
worried about your podcast and you're actually playing basketball and your team was able to, you were able to help your team. Imagine that. What a great idea. He's a weird dude. I really, we talked about this about a month ago, kind of when the playoffs start. I just feel like he's already got his eyes set on
TNT.
On TNT, which is a cool gig, dude. Hang out with Charles Barkley and Shaq and just talk basketball. You don't have to put in the work. You're probably going to get pretty close to similar money. Like they're going to probably pay him through the nose. It's a lot of fun. You can still do your podcast. Dude, he's been in the league for how many years now?
It's got to be 11.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
So he's kind of seeing that. I wouldn't be surprised if you get one more year out of him and that might be it. Let's be honest. Statistically, he was
mediocre at best.
So, but it was fun. I have to say, I'm not a big NBA. I don't watch a lot of NBA games in a regular season. I think it's just a bad product. But the playoffs were a lot of fun this year. I hope they can capitalize off of that. I hope they get away from some of the woke stuff that they've been, leaning on. I think they see that that's not helping at all. This was one of the lowest rated NBA finals in recent history once again, which is not good. And you can't even complain. You had your premier organization in the league in the Golden State Warriors, which is kind of universally loved.
And maybe top 3 or 4 with the Celtics.
And that's a traditional power that, people – Boston Celtics and the Lakers are kind of like the Yankees and Dodgers of Major League Baseball. Like everyone either loves them or hates them. Nobody's indifferent. Like you either want to watch them win or you want to watch them lose. Either way, you're tuning in, and these, the networks are fine with that. They love you rooting against them just as much, if not more, than rooting for them. And for you to have shit ratings with those two teams, I mean, who else do you want playing? You know what I'm saying? So you got problems and you need to straighten them out. You need to stop alienating half your audience.
When you had Toronto in, I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, those ratings are actually better.
They care about more hockey than basketball. I mean, but that's Milwaukee.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you can't even pull ratings with two of your top 5 organizations in the league. You got to make some adjustments, dude. Well, stop alienating half your audience.
It doesn't help, and I'm going to get into this in a second with KD, but, the Nets shit their pants. LeBron missed the playoffs altogether. With the Lakers as a popular team, like you said.
You think about this, dude, in the last 10 years, the Lakers, outside of the bubble, the Lakers have made the playoffs or have had like a real playoff run one time.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
So,
but yeah, you got anything to add to the finals, or
nope, you're good. Go. Let's talk about KD. You want to?
Kevin Durant. Did Kevin Durant make a mistake leaving the Golden State Warriors?
There's no question about it. There's no question about it. Now he wouldn't admit to this, but he did.
Not right now.
Yeah, maybe 15 years from now.
When the book comes out.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, I mean, it's a big mistake. It's a huge mistake. If he stays, that team, let's be honest, like they clearly would have won it this year if you had KD.
They would have won it last year.
Well, Klay Thompson wasn't playing.
He did play. Well, you replaced him with Durant.
Him and Steph. Yeah, there's a really good chance they could have won. Like that's a real all-time dynasty. I just think he was looking very short-sighted about that. And if it was really just about the fact that Draymond is a dick, then you're dumber than I thought.
Yeah, he's very sensitive.
It clearly is super sensitive, but you're bordering on dumb because you had something special. The organization wasn't cheap. They paid their players. They were fine paying the luxury tax. They didn't give a shit. I think it was a huge mistake.
So I agree with you.
I understand why he wanted to do it. He wanted his own thing. Kevin Durant, frankly, has never won a championship on his own. He's never won a championship where he's the man. And he hasn't, frankly, he came close with Oklahoma City. He hasn't come close with the Nets. And you're still leaning on Kyrie. And now they're talking about this possible, I don't think it'll happen, but a Kyrie for Westbrook trade. So we're going to get Westbrook and Durant back together in Brooklyn. For what? Like, so
I just got breaking news on this topic, which is astonishing.
Oh, fantastic.
But before I go into that, I want to say you had Westbrook and Harden in Oklahoma City. You had the boys in Golden State. Then you hook your wagon to this fucking lunatic and Kyrie Irving.
I don't get it.
Nets.
I never understood that.
You trade for Harden, you get rid of him, you bring in Simmons, and that's what your legacy wants to be. You could have stayed in Golden State and lived happily ever after, and this is what do you want? Like, what do you want? Does Kyrie have pictures of you like banging a fucking horse?
Simmons is such a menace that he came out a couple weeks ago and said, I don't think the Nets have a clue what they're trying to do. You don't have a clue? And this is the guy they just traded for?
Yeah. And Ben, shut up.
Dude, you haven't played in over a year, and you're talking about they don't have a clue what they're doing?
You have more psychiatry issues than fucking, and you're going to open your mouth about what – dude, stop it.
Give me a break.
I got one one alert 4 minutes ago. Kyrie now has a list of teams if he would consider if he leaves the Nets.
Let's hear this list.
Well, right away it says Lakers, Knicks, Sixers.
Knicks, huh?
Harden's probably like, I'll light this place on fire if you bring Kyrie.
Oh my God, can you imagine that? That'll never happen.
Lakers, Clippers, Knicks.
Matt, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What if the problem wasn't Harden and Kyrie? What if the problem was KD? What if Harden wanted to leave because he didn't like playing with KD? He was fine playing with Kyrie.
I don't think
why would Kyrie say that? It begs the question, right? Because we just assumed that the problem was that Harden didn't like Kyrie.
I think not only assumed, I think it's been proven. I think he said
Has it?
Yeah, I think he said so. But I like where you're going with it for like the
It's interesting. Yeah. Like, why would Kyrie even think that Harden would want to play with him?
No Warrior said a word besides Draymond, but we know what Draymond is all about. So Kyrie's teams would be the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks. Stay the fuck away from this guy. Heat, Mavericks, Sixers. Oh, so he wants the 6-7 best teams in the league. Oh, you don't want to go to the Bucks, Kyrie? You don't want to, like, what the fuck?
I'm going to say something that, I don't know, you might laugh at first.
Go ahead.
If I'm Dallas, I might really strongly consider that.
I agree with you.
That might actually be a good spot for him, and then that would give Luka.
I think that's the only team that I think should do it.
I think they should, and he doesn't have to worry about his friggin' vaccinations or anything like that because Texas is very loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
And Luka could use a second guy who's a shooter so he doesn't
pressure off him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not the worst.
Yeah, but if I'm the Heat and Lakers, I don't touch him. LeBron, they got Westbrook still on the roster. The money, I don't think that's
well, because then that trade would have to do something with Westbrook.
The Knicks, no way, because it's New York problem. God forbid there's a pandemic again. You can't play in New York. Whatever the hell's going on there. And the Knicks are finally starting to be like
Yeah, you don't want
organized a little bit. You don't want this shit
Yeah.
going backwards.
I can't imagine them going in that direction. That would just erase everything they've done for the last 2 years,
Correct.
3 years.
And then what's your team? The Heat? No way. Spoelstra doesn't want that garbage.
No way. Pat Riley doesn't want that bullshit.
Jimmy Butler? No.
No way. Dallas does make some sense.
does.
Mark Cuban knows how to massage like giant egos. He would do what he has to do to make Kyrie feel comfortable. And frankly, from a on the court perspective, it does make some sense. It does make some sense.
And then the Clippers, what? Paul George? I don't know.
I don't see that working at all.
So MIA for a while.
Too many mouths to feed.
Yeah,
too many mouths to feed. I don't see that being the case at all.
And then the second alert
That's
I got,
fascinating.
Coach, Kevin Durant monitoring uncertainty surrounding Nets. What are you, the GM?
They seem to think so. They've been led to believe so.
He will look to create a path to be traded if Kyrie leaves the Nets. Buckle up,
Dude.
sir. The offseason starts tonight with the draft, and it's going to be
Wow. So
It's
he
gonna be
still
something.
wants Kyrie on the team.
does.
I just don't. I
Tell you,
I
there's
used to-
pictures.
I used to have
Pictures,
I used to have a landscaping business, small little landscaping business, and I would never do anyone's lawn who lived on my street. And the reason is I never wanted to mix like
business with pleasure.
business with neighborliness.
Yeah.
You know, what if I do a bad job? You feel bad like saying to me, "Hey man, like I wish you could have done this better or that better." Or what if you don't pay me? And now I got to chase a neighbor down for being a fucking deadbeat. Like you want to avoid those situations. The biggest mistake that Kevin Durant made was not leaving Golden State. The biggest mistake he made was leaving Golden State to play with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you can't wiggle your way out of that, dude. Because what? You're going to put your friendship at risk or whatever. Like, and now you're making friendship decisions on business decisions. It's bad idea. That was leaving Golden State was a bad idea because you did it to play with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just makes no sense. Who you have barely played with, by the way. The guy missed most of the season last year because of his vaccination status, which I don't question on him. That's his business. But now you're going to sit here and say you don't want to be traded, or I'll ask for a trade if you move Kyrie. Are you not seeing what everyone else is seeing?
I know.
Like, you're alone on this one. You and I are not afraid to go step out on an island by ourselves and say stuff, and we're often proven right, and I'm great with that. But we are not alone in saying that this isn't working. Okay, I can't think of anybody that's like, oh yeah, man, since KD and Kyrie have come to Brooklyn, it's been a total success. Like nobody's even coming close to saying that. But you, KD, are thinking we'll make it work. Okay.
Yeah, now do you think he's so stubborn on it now? Like, dude, cut your losses.
I don't think he's looking at it that way. I don't
He's
think
not.
he's
No,
looking
he's not. He's not for sure. But
He
wow.
either doesn't care because he's already got two
Two
championships.
rings, yeah.
He either doesn't care, or he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it as a problem. He doesn't see it as it's not working.
Well, I think he's probably looking at it as COVID, vaccination, Harden left, Simmons
What
came in,
if-
didn't play. But
What if we were all together?
yeah,
You know, what if the moon was made of cheese? You know, we can ask these questions all the what if. It's never happened. When has Kyrie ever been healthy for a whole season? When has he ever been, I don't know, sane? Like these things have never happened.
and now their roster's not great either because they have a lot of Blake Griffin, Drummond.
dude
They
from
got a lot of
Portland.
old guys, man.
The dude from Portland who retired because he thought he was going to die.
Aldridge or what's his
Aldridge,
name?
yeah. LaMarcus Aldridge. Like he thought he was going to die and he came back. Like, come on.
I'm good. Put me in, head coach. I'm good. I'll give you 4 minutes here.
I got to pay for my pool service, man. Let's
Jesus
put another
Christ.
season in.
Oh my
Yeah, pretty crazy. I don't know. A huge mistake, though. Going back to your original question, it was clearly a mistake. That was the makings. That Golden State team was the makings of a legendary team.
Mhm.
A team that you could have put in the argument with the Michael Jordan Bulls,
Shaq Lakers, Shaq Kobe Lakers.
I think they would even have been long past that.
Yeah, probably
Because
right.
would they win 2 or 3?
3.
Yeah, they would have been long past that. We're talking like the Celtics and Lakers of the 80s.
Wow.
And then maybe all the way back to like the Celtics of Bill Russell's era, where they won 11 out of 13.
Yeah, because the Spurs won 5, but I think Duncan
5. No, you're right.
Duncan won 5.
You got to put them in that.
But then I think it was separate. I think
it was like 2 and 3.
Elliott, Avery Johnson, Robinson won 2, and then I think Ginobili and those guys won 3. Yeah, I think it was.
But it was a good run either way. So you could put it in that anything where it's like more than 4 or 5. I think if KD stays in Golden State, you're talking about 4, 5, 6 championships. I really do, because that team, just those 3, Clay, Steph, Kevin Durant. I don't care who you put around them, dude. That's devastating. That's just devastating. So I think he made a mistake. As far as legacy, that's a mistake. Just my opinion. What the hell do I know?
Yep, I agree.
We never talk about this. Ralph Gorga, my cousin, has asked us, and I just want to at least bring it up. The Stanley Cup Finals are taking place right now, and we touched on the fact that playoff hockey in general is a great sport to watch. It's just difficult for most people. Number one, there's not a ton of scoring, and that's not always
the rules are tough to follow if you don't know it.
And it's tough to follow the puck. I get all that stuff. But man, oh man, I have been watching the Stanley Cup Finals. Both of these teams, incredibly talented. Colorado, dude, is as fast a team as I've ever seen on skates.
Yeah,
they
are.
They just are relentless, and the speed that speed forces constant pressure. They won a game last night in overtime, and some of the plays that I've seen by both of these teams, the talent, the things that these guys are able to do on skates and with a fucking stick. And I don't know if you've ever touched a hockey puck. It's not like a sponge. It's not soft. It's a hard rubber. It's heavy and hard. It's not easy. You don't just flick it around. And these guys do this stuff like it's a fucking magic wand. It blows me away.
Yeah.
When I see some of the scoring and then the other side of it is when you see some of the things that goalies can do. Like you watching some of these shots being taken, and it's like a goddamn bullet out of a gun, and they're like making glove saves. And I'm not thinking, how'd you save it? I'm thinking, how'd you see it? Like, I don't even know how you saw the damn thing to make the save. The things they do. It's been a lot of fun. The series is now Colorado 3-1. I'm highly suggesting for sports fans, if you're a sports fan in general and you haven't been, go check out a game. I've said this to so many people. The difference between hockey playoffs and any other sports playoffs is that whether it's a baseball game, a football game, a basketball game, whatever it is, those games start off with a lot of heat because there's playoffs and there's excitement, but then they settle into a groove. They settle into a rhythm. And then it picks up, of course, whether it be the 8th or 9th inning or the last 5 minutes of an NBA game or the fourth quarter, 10 minutes left and less of an NFL game, then the intensity picks back up. In a hockey game, I'm sorry. It starts intense, it stays intense, and it ends intense. And it gets even more intense at the end if it's a close game.
Overtime.
Down by 1, maybe they pull the goalie, and there's so much pressure when it's a 6-on-5, or especially like last night, there's an overtime, and like goalies are making saves, and every shot matters, and it's like, it's a sudden death kind of thing. Do you know when the next game is? Is it tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, 8:00.
Tomorrow night, which is a Friday night, 8:00. You can probably find it on ESPN.
ABC, I think so.
ABC. Check it out. Give it a chance. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And I just think you'll feel the intensity. And if there's anything that sports offers us as fans, is we want to be like on edge. That's why we like live sports, right? It's not like a movie where you kind of shuffle it. You want to watch it live. I think hockey offers an opportunity to feel that kind of an intensity for the entire time. I really do. Do you agree, or do you?
I totally agree. I got.
Have you been watching the Stanley Cup?
I watched a little bit of it. One of my best friends, obviously huge Ranger fan, so I was watching. Unbelievable year, and we were saying the other day, thank God they got eliminated because it would have been, I think, ugly because they were on fumes anyway. The last couple of games against Tampa,
sure.
Colorado would be skating around with one skate on around them. It would just be unbelievable. But yeah, I watched the whole third period intermission last night. I think I watched most of game 2. Oh no, game 2 was a rout. I watched most of game 1.
7-1 was it 7-0 or 7-1 in game?
I think game 2.
Oh.
Yeah, so I checked out early. But yeah, it's great, man, and it's
a great series because you have Tampa, who's been in the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row now. They've won it the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And you have Colorado, who had if I'm not mistaken, they had the best record in the league this year. Am I correct in that?
I think they had the best record in the West. I think maybe the Panthers had it in the East. I'm not positive on that.
You're right. You're right about that, actually. You're right. So you have like kind of the consistently winning team versus the new, fresh kind of, and they are fast, dude. You can notice the difference. And this is a Tampa Bay team that's very good.
And
so it's not like
very good, very experienced and tough.
It's not like just a fast team makes a shit team. This is a fast team against a good team, and they still look fast. Like it's pretty unbelievable. So it's a lot of fun. You just can feel that intensity every time they cross the blue line. You just almost like tighten up. You're like, is this going to be the possession where they score? And it doesn't happen a lot. Last night that game was 2-2 going into overtime. So over the course of 3 hours, basically 2.5 hours, you got 4 goals, and now overtime you're just waiting. You're waiting for that one. Imagine you played a basketball game and it goes to overtime, and the overtime is the first team that scores wins. First of all, it's not the worst idea. Yeah. Be kind of fun, but that's kind of what you got, and it catches your breath. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed that.
Want to go US Open, sir?
Yeah, U.S. Open was last weekend. What'd you think?
I loved it.
Where did they play it?
They played at the Country Club in Boston, Massachusetts, right outside Boston. I think 5 miles out of Boston.
Interestingly, cooler weather.
Weather. What a course! Jesus Christ, links course, high fescue. I was texting Mr. Stavali over the weekend. I said the driving range should be 4 feet of fescue. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's good to see. I don't want to go there yet. Let me congratulate the winner, Matthew Fitzpatrick. A thrilling 18th hole. Hits his drive. Dude. Up 1, hits his drive into the bunker on the left-hand side.
Dude, I think shot.
What was he, $150 away, $148 away, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Hits an absolute seed.
Insane.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm looking at them like, oh, my God, he's going to cough it up right here on the 18th hole.
I thought he got stuck behind that little mound thing in the bunker. I was like, This is what.
Well, because off the tee, they're talking about you want to go anywhere here but left. And what does he do? He just fucking yokes this thing to the left, and you're like, oh shit. And they're all, the announcers are saying, this is
who was the color guy? Azinger, right? Was it Paul Azinger?
Yes.
Or was it? Oh, he was like, oh, what a disaster!
He's saying literally anywhere else.
Yeah.
Anywhere. He says you got 50 yards to the right. You could have landed anywhere but left. Like they were signaling the death knell. Like this is over. Like he fucked up.
Zalatoris is in the fairway. Like, oh no.
I have a little something to say about Zalatoris when we finish, though.
Yeah, so Zalatoris and Scotty Scheffler are going to make a lot of noise on this tour. Yes. And that's knock on wood if they stay and don't go to this stupid live tour thing. But Scheffler is the guy's got ice in his veins.
He's got no holes.
He melted, on 9, 10, and 11. I think he bogeyed both.
He came back again.
No, I know. He came back again. Zalatoris now, in a year and a half, came in second or third in the Masters. Went to a playoff in the PGA Championship last month against JT. And now he was basically a lucky shot away from winning the U.S. Open.
And about a half an inch away from tying it up on his putt.
Yes, and I think he would have won it, too. There's just a hunch I would have had if he hit that putt. But
yeah, that was the one thing. Obviously, Fitzpatrick winning is a story. It's a major for him. It's huge. He was a highly heralded young player, amateur.
Yeah.
Has performed well overseas. Has not done great here in America, but everybody saw the potential that he had. And obviously, it paid off, and he looked great.
And give him credit. He hit some shots, man. That one off the
– he had ice in his veins. He had ice in his veins.
When he hit into the people, he hit off where the people stand. He got a good lie. But, those people are standing so close to you. He hits a missile out of that thing. Like, oh.
God. Yeah. It's awesome to see. You can see the guys who are, in the zone who just, nothing – you could see it in their face. Nothing is going to deter me. Nothing is bothering me. I just take these shots as they come. Even that sand shot that you're talking about on 18th.
Yeah.
He didn't walk up to it like, wow, what the fuck, man, shit. He was just looking and like lining it up, figuring out, talking to his caddy. Caddy helped him a lot.
Yeah. Foster, Billy Foster. Yep.
Yes, helped him a
long time.
lot. Make no mistake, that was a big deal.
He cried before Fitzpatrick cried when he
because he knew. Yeah. Zalatoris is a really interesting. You just mentioned all the statistics about him. He's a great ball striker, great driver of the ball. Excellent with the irons. He's pretty good around the greens. On the off off the green, got great touch. His whole thing is putting. He's kind of like ranked over 100.
Yeah.
In putting, but it does seem like magically figures it out when the majors come around. Because you brought up the point, in the PGA Championship, previous Masters. I feel like he's one of those guys that if you do fantasy football, we talk about Mike Dean with Dean Dome Sports, and he puts out a nice little podcast where he often talks about the guys, his little fantasy teams for golf.
Yeah, it's DraftKings teams. It's FanDuel.
Yeah, DraftKings and FanDuel. Zalatoris is one of those guys you want to have him in there if it's a major. And I love seeing that because you're talking about a guy who doesn't have any majors. I'm not even sure if he has any PGA Tour wins yet.
You know what? I was going to say the same. I don't think he does.
But it's almost like I expect him to win a major before I expect him to win a regular tour. Now, that's kind of back-ass words, but
he kind of reminds me
he
of
just is always there. There's a focus that comes in on these majors that is a beautiful thing to see.
He's kind of like Koepka was like 4 or 5 years ago. Like he'd show up for the majors, he'd be so focused in, and then he'd take like 3 tournaments off.
Yeah.
Come back.
I think it's just a matter of time before he wins.
It's a tough way to do it that way, but I mean, the focus is unbelievable.
He's gonna be someone that you're gonna have to reckon with. You're definitely gonna have to reckon with because he's just always there in the majors, and he's fit and healthy, and he's a great striker of the ball. And if he can get this putting thing down,
and he's a great kid. I think he went up to Fitzpatrick's parents and said, "If I was gonna lose to anyone, I'm glad it was to your son."
Yeah, good karma.
Good call, yeah, and then also he looks like the caddy from Happy Gilmore, which I always like. So I'm gonna root for him forever. One more thing I want to hit on here: it's nice to see the Live Tour guys shit their pants. Phil shot like 125, I think, on Friday. Listen, man, I know this Live Tour is a big deal.
I have some I want to throw by you on
this. The money's insane. It can't possibly generate that kind of juice. Because you're getting paid regardless.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
You tell me the other sport where the players don't get paid regardless.
Yeah, that's fair.
Every player in the NFL this year is going to get paid regardless of wins and losses.
Fair point.
Every NBA player, every Major League Baseball player, you name it, every WNBA player, like every hockey player, they get paid and then they go play.
But golfers get paid on their wins.
They have traditionally.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So what we say in other sports is we say these guys are professionals and they want to win. Their drive to be successful is how you get paid. So just because they're getting paid, why do you think they wouldn't go out and play hard? And they do go out and play hard.
Doesn't it feel different to you though a little bit?
It does, only because we're used to them getting paid for the win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what you're seeing now, like, I don't know if you watched I only thought about that, and I get it, because I was like, this isn't how it works. Like, you're really just going to go out. I said it to myself. This is how I came to this reasoning just now.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you're just going to go out and play and you're already paid. And I'm thinking, Aaron Rodgers does that. Aaron Rodgers got $50 million coming this year. If they didn't win if they go 0-17, Aaron Rodgers is going to get $50 million.
Well, that's a comment for a different day because he hasn't won much lately.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I don't.
Name your guy. Josh Allen is going to get $42 million this year. If he gets hurt, think about this. Josh Allen gets hurt, tears his ACL. God forbid. I don't want that to happen.
Whoa, easy.
Yeah. He's going to still get his $40 million.
Don't draft Josh Allen.
If Mickelson hurts his back, or Koepka, who has a bad back or whatever he has, if he can't play, he doesn't get paid.
Right.
So the notion that these guys won't play hard or try to win just because they're already paid It's a weak argument if you compare it to other sports.
I should have
I know what you're saying because we put it in a perspective of traditional golf. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like horse racing in that sense. Like you get paid when you win.
All right, so what if I said the Live Tour? I mean, I don't even know what. I think they have a blank canvas right now, and I think they're trying to put stuff in,
Which is fine.
which is fine. But my point was it can't. It just I don't see it matching the juice of a major.
Maybe it's not, and that's their problem.
Yeah,
I think the mistake
that is
is the
their problem.
PGA Tour locking these guys out. I don't understand why you want. I don't see what you're doing. And what I had said to you, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast last time, but I might have texted it to you and I might have said it to somebody else. The PGA Tour director or whatever his name is came on not during the U.S. Open, but the previous week, and he really dug in on the I know people that died in 9/11. Saudi Arabia had stuff to do with that. Let me ask you something. Are you going to NBC and telling them not to broadcast in Saudi Arabia? I don't think so.
Right.
So are you gonna shut down? Are you gonna shut down your work with NBC or CBS because they do work in Saudi Arabia? Don't be a hypocrite.
Right.
Don't sit here and say that the corporation is allowed to do that, but that the individual is not. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure NBC is on, especially for their golf tournaments in Saudi Arabia. So this is where it becomes hypocritical. You'll take their money through NBC.
It's only convenience, Pete. That's what.
It's all convenience.
Yeah.
It's all convenience. I think it's a mistake to lock these guys out. Now, what I don't have a problem with saying for you to be considered a PGA Tour player, you have to play an X number of tournaments throughout the year. But then you got to hold Tiger Woods to that same standard. He can't only play in majors and not play in any other tournaments. Doesn't seem fair. You can't just claim to have an injury, but yet somehow you're miraculously healthy for majors. Okay, so if there's going to be standards, then there's standards across the board. And I have no problem with them saying, hey, listen, for you to be considered a PGA player, you have to play in, I don't know how many tournaments there are throughout the year, non-majors. It's got to be 20-something, 30-something, right?
It's got to be.
Let's say you have to play in
6.
Let's say you have to play in 12 or 15. I don't really care what the number is, right? But if in those non-PGA weeks you want to go play LIV, you want to go play anywhere else, that's your business.
Yeah.
Why would you want to lock out Phil Mickelson? Why would you want to lock out Brooks Koepka? I don't understand why you would want to do. What do you gain by doing that?
They're going to have to.
It just doesn't make sense. Eventually it'll be a lawsuit and they will lose. But
Mikey Dean just says, my question is, what big time courses are they going to play? And that's part of it, because how many times do we come against golf and courses play a major role in it? But
do you care?
What? I don't care because I've never seen them out there, so I don't know.
Well, because it's only been one tournament. But I'll put it to you this way: when you hear that they're going to do the match, when it's like the 2-on-2 thing. Do you give a shit what course they're playing on? I mean, they're always playing on a gorgeous course.
Yeah, that helps. I was going to say, when they pick a shitty one, I'll let you know.
Is that why you're watching?
No.
Wherever these guys are playing, it's going to be a good course. It's just not an American course, I don't think. I don't think they're playing in America.
I don't think so either.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But do you really care? Or do you want to watch Phil Mickelson versus Koepka versus Sergio versus Patrick Reed? Like, why are you watching? I'm not watching for the courses, other than maybe Augusta National.
And TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah, for one hole.
One hole.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes one hole is all it takes, kid.
No, that's what she said. So,
well,
so that's where I'm at. Like, I get it, but I think it's a mistake. I say embrace it, and keep your best players playing. Why would you want to blacklist your best players? And if they can't handle it, if they come back and Phil or Koepka or any of these guys, they shit the bed in the U.S. Open, that's their problem. Mike Dean says they're scheduled to play in Oregon coming up. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a beautiful course. My point is more that, you don't care. You're not going to care. It's not going to be a shithole. It's not going to be Mays Landing Country Club, where I play for $40. I like the course. No offense to Mays Landing Country Club. I like playing there. It's a very nice course for the weekend golfer. Unsolicited, by the way. Feel free to drop us. Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying I think it's a mistake. You could do both. Why can't we have both? Why can't we have these exhibitions, so-called exhibitions, and have these? And if they suck in PGA events, that's their problem. And that only that only cuts into their marketability. Because then it looks like you're not as good as you say you are. You can't even beat the best players in the world on PGA Tour. And then maybe that'll cost them money on the LIV Tour. Let the market work. Let the market work.
Yeah.
If they want to pay Phil $100 million and he's going to suck in PGA Tour events, that's a Phil problem. That shouldn't be. Did you care? I didn't even think about Phil this weekend because I'm watching these young guys play great golf.
Yep.
I wasn't like, man, this would be awesome if Phil was only playing.
No.
But last year, PGA Championship, you had Phil, and it was exciting because he's 50. Why cut that out? Why cut out a Koepka who's a multi major champion? I think it's just a mistake.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be figured out, and stay tuned. We'll be here for you when we find out.
I'm sure it will be figured out. You asked me to tell you, and I'm sure you have the same list, top 5 college stadiums that I would like to see a game in. And while I got off to a blazing start here, I really kind of struggled near the end to come up with something because I don't want it to be just flippant. Because like there was a time where I'm a Florida State fan and I would love to go see a game in Florida State, but right now they kind of like are mediocre to shitty.
Yeah, they don't even fill up the stadium anymore.
I don't want to go right now. Yeah, I don't want to go right now. So there was a couple of those that I'm just like, shit. So I have my 5 not in order. I just have 5 because I
got mine in order.
It would all depend on timing. So, I'll just give you my 5.
Go ahead.
I'll just give you my 5. So I would love to go see a game at Notre Dame, even though I'm not a Notre Dame fan at all. I would love to go see a game at South Carolina. The idea of them playing that 2001, and I would really prefer it to be a night game. I just want to feel that stadium shaking with the theme to 2001 going on, and just I don't even care if I left right after the game started. I just want to hear that and feel that.
I don't tailgate everybody,
and just feel that energy. I would love to go see a game at the Rose Bowl. I don't care if it's a UCLA game or the actual Rose Bowl or a friggin' high school football game. Just the scenic view of being at that Rose Bowl when they just phenomenal. I always had an intrigue about Tennessee because I think they hold like 113,000 fucking people.
Neyland Stadium.
Yeah, there's something about it. My dad's favorite color was orange, so like I would just get juiced up in orange and go and watch a Tennessee game. I would want to be a day game.
And look like a creamsicle.
Yeah, it looked like a creamsicle. Very white guy in a orange shirt. And then you'll throw me some love on this one. I always wanted to go to a game at the Big House, which I know you've done already. So,
well, you're in luck. You can come in whenever you want, pal.
What a nice guy.
I got 5 for you as well. I got number 5. I got Lane Stadium for the Virginia Tech Hokies. They play man at night.
Interesting.
Michigan was on their schedule a couple times, and I think they got better offers, and they kind of axed that out. I would have definitely taken that trip.
That's a driving. That's a nice.
Not too far. Too. Yep, about 6 hours, 5 hours if you got a heavy foot. A little Enter Sandman. They walk in. They show them walking from like far as hell away, and the stadium's rocking. They pop through the tunnel, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Number 4, I got Kyle Field, home of the 12th man, Texas A&M Aggies.
That place gets bananas.
They used to have the tradition of the bonfire before the Texas game.
I know.
When Texas was still playing that. It got
somebody get killed or something.
12 people got killed. It collapsed.
What a shame, because that was a cool ass tradition.
4 years off, but they're back. They're doing it.
Oh, they're doing it again.
They do it off
with
campus
some precautions,
now, but I think they're bringing it back.
With the fire trucks ready to go,
and they're getting good too. Number 1 recruiting class, so that might not be a bad place to see.
Dude, is there a game you want to see more, like just without having seen a single game or have any idea what's going to happen this year?
A&M Bama.
Is there a bigger game on the schedule right now than A&M versus Bama?
I know.
I mean, come on, man. I just want to see it. I want to see them shake hands at midfield before and after the game.
Number 3, I got one you had, Notre Dame Stadium. Obviously, tradition, bucket list event. Preferably against Michigan whenever they wipe their pussies and put Michigan back on the schedule. Number 2, I got Beaver Stadium, Penn State. Night game whiteout, 100%. It's a must-see.
So cool.
Preferably not against Michigan.
So that you could join in the fun?
Watch them beat Ohio State's ass or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
And number 1 for me, I'm shocked that you didn't have this on your list, is Tiger Stadium, LSU. Death Valley.
Tough one.
Women, food, and football. Let's
at night.
go. At night. Yep.
Yeah, that's so. If I had to go past 5, there was 3 that were kind of on my list. There was that one. There's Clemson.
Yeah.
Just the idea of them like touching the rock and running down that hill and all that kind of the intensity, the bus ride around the stadium before
And
they
nobody
do, like,
falls down the hill. It's amazing.
I don't know how, dude, because
know.
it's steep and it's not exactly
Yeah.
flat. It's all like kind of.
And you're juiced too. You're coming down that thing 100 miles an
Can you
hour.
imagine some fat lineman like takes a dip on that one, dude? There'll be 35 guys coming right over the top of him, just totally busting ass.
It's like little giants coming to.
And then we talked about this a million times, dude. But like the idea of just being at the game and going into the fourth quarter at Wisconsin where they do jump around, that would be
that's a good one.
Fun.
That's a good one.
Shit, man. Like I look forward to that. They play so many games at noon.
Yeah.
It's usually one of those games you see early in the day on Saturday, and it just juices you up. Plus, they're always a good team, and they play competitive against the best competition.
Sure.
So even the game itself would be worth it. So I will throw this one out at you. I was feeling a little nostalgic, and if you took me back like 30, 40 years, because it's the only thing going in the entire fucking state, but Nebraska.
I had that one at like 6 for me. Yeah,
They're such shit. I don't even know if they fill the stadium anymore. They're so bad now, but God, 30, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, holy shit, man.
The Rose Bowl's a good one too, you said. That's a good one, yeah.
It's just so scenic. It's almost a little too chill because it's California and they're all laid back and everything. But if you've ever seen like the camera angle from like,
oh my God,
and you see like the mountains and the Sierra and the sun setting and all this, I mean, dude,
yeah, it's
I'll take that.
The field's perfect.
The weather, perfect. Like everything's perfect.
Oh man,
it just almost looks fake. You know, it's just so glorious there. So, yeah, that's a good list. Not too bad.
Thank you for partaking.
Fun stuff. 70 in the books, my man. What do you got today?
I got 3 for you, buddy. At number 3, 3-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler, and he's known for that weird-ass play where he recovers a fumble and runs the wrong way for his own safety, is Vikings defensive end Jim Marshall.
Nice.
Number 2, two-time
that's the NFL's version of Bill Buckner, right?
Yeah. He's going the wrong way. God. 2-time NFL champ, 4-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Fame Colts defensive tackle Art Donovan. And number 1, 1956 NFL champ, 2-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Fame Giants and Redskins linebacker Sam Huff.
Hey, I got a question for you. Was Leonard Marshall number 70 for the Giants?
I think he might have been.
Leonard Marshall.
Let me see. Should I look it up on the smart machine?
You got your mini smart machine right there. Why don't you look that up? I think I'm right about that. And I'm not even a Giants fan, but I remember those are the years that like the Giants were really good. And isn't he the one that put the
Leonard Marshall wore number 70.
Isn't he the one that put the smackdown on Joe Montana that one year? In the playoffs?
That might have been a little before my time.
Oh, Jesus. You're so young. I can't stand it. I think that was the case. Hey, today in sports history, 1927. We're going back in the time machine here. But to a good one. Yankees first baseman Lou Gehrig.
Lou.
Hits 3 home runs in an 11-4 victory over Boston. Where? Fenway Stadium, baby. Jam it right up their ass in their own home. Good job, Lou Gehrig. Nothing like getting a disease named after you.
Oh, my goodness.
Too much? Was that too much? We love Lou Gehrig. Come on.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
do.
do.
Good job, my man.
Hey, good one today.
I liked your list today. Good stuff to work on.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you think KD made a mistake?
Oh my God!
Because you didn't really answer. You kind of just.
I did. I said I threw it in there quick because I wanted to let you roll on it. I said I totally agree with you. Oh, yeah. Dude, he's got to be. And like you said, I don't care what he says now. He's definitely kicking himself in the ass. Just because, and maybe he's the only one who doesn't see the Kyrie thing. But that's
what I'm thinking. Because if you're friends, you're like, I don't give a shit. It's my friend, so be it.
And like you said, at least the 2 rings help.
Yeah, sure. He's not still, but he's got to be looking at it saying, Of course we would have won more. Man. Of course. Like he's 3 years removed now. He'd certainly have at least one more, probably 2.
Yeah.
With more to come. They're still in their prime.
Absolutely. And with an organization that's not afraid.
No. To make moves.
Somebody said, Doug Gottlieb. College guy and analyst. He was on DP today because he's going to be in New York for the draft. So he drove up to Connecticut to do a segment or 2.
Yeah.
He threw out a possibility of the Warriors maybe trading Poole, Kuminga and somebody else for Bradley Beal.
I heard those same names, and if they pull that off, you might as well just skip it. Skip next year.
Right?
Beal is really good, dude.
I know.
He is stuck in purgatory over there.
And
in
also,
Washington.
do you want to upset the apple cart? Because you got a pretty good thing with these
I
guys.
don't think he's that kind of guy, though.
I'm not saying him.
He's not that kind of guy, so I think that works for them because you have to look at it. Here's a guy who
Would you do it if you had to get rid of Wiggins, though?
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
I'll take
Yeah.
Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's a baller, dude. He plays hurt. He doesn't get hurt
He
often.
never pisses and moans either. Doesn't say a
Never
word.
bitches and moans, and he plays for the Washington, whatever the hell they are, Wizards. And even as bad as they've been, he always says, "No, I'm fine. I like playing here. This is my team. I want them to be good. I want to be good here." Like,
And they tried. They tried to bring in John Wall and somebody else and whatever.
failed massively. Dude, John Wall opted. I don't know if you heard this. He opted into his player option this year.
Yeah.
40-something million.
I thought I saw 40
He
million on
won't
the
even
bottom.
play. He didn't play this whole past season. They just
I
DNP'd him.
was wondering.
You're
I
gonna
meant
give
what
him
the hell-
another 40
I was like,
million?
did he get hurt or did he decide not to
They
play?
just DNP'd him. I don't know why. I don't know enough about Houston to know
Listen,
why.
I love my company call me tomorrow and go, Scotty, listen, stay home.
Dude,
Take the computer away. And here's 40 million.
he's gonna go.
Enjoy
2
18
years.
holes.
He's gonna go 2 years not playing any basketball, making $80 million.
Christ almighty.
What the hell? That's crazy.
Wow.
We'll end it on that. For
That's why
Scott
the
Bracey,
Rockets are a mess too, but Jesus.
for Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. We'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
All right. Oh my
That was
God.
good.
That is crazy though.
Yeah, it's
He
fucking
missed
nuts.
this whole season. They just DNP'd him. He might have been injured at one point, but then they just DNP'd him. I think they were trying to trade him, and
Oh, you know what? That does sound right.
now he opted in. He's pulling like a Steve Nash. It's Steve Nash at the end of his career when
And
he was
nobody,
like,
nobody,
"I'm gonna
came,
take
nobody
the money,
came calling. See
dude."
ya.
He can't do anything.
No.
He can't even do anything about it. It's a guaranteed contract. $40-something million, and they won't play him.
And they traded for him, right?
Yeah. That was the Westbrook trade.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Wow.
My God.
Can you imagine just eating $40 million 2 years in a row?
No.
Not just 1 year.
No.
Like somebody might take on Westbrook this year just because it'll be an expiring contract. And then next year you'll have cap space, like massive cap space if we get a free agent. No. You're going to eat that $80 million plus over 2 years. And he just fucking sits there. Sometimes shows up, sometimes just in a suit. What a deal for him.
That's as good as it gets, man.
It doesn't get any better. Jesus Christ. All right, dude. I'll have this done, and I'll talk to you soon.
Have a great evening, and don't forget to send me the picture of the date then.
Will do.
My man.
Talk to you later.
Later.
All right. Bye.